What is the secret to joy? How to feel good in your life no matter what happens, no matter what your current situation is. That secret to joy is emotions, is your ability to control your emotions. In this short training, I want to show you what are emotions, the nature of emotions, so that you have a better control of your emotions, so you can feel better about your life, about yourself, and finding joy in every situation. Emotions are like colors. Just like colors is continuous. There is no such thing as a letter, like one is this color and you jump to the next color. It's continuous. So is emotions. Emotions is continuous. Even though we use human language to describe emotions and put them into different categories, such as on the top we have joy and happiness, and it goes down and down. We have anger, we have fear, we have sadness. So it seems like because we have this unique words to describe a unique emotion, it seems like they are like a ladder. You come one step to the next. However, that's not the case. Emotions is continuous. And what we say, anger, is a range of emotions, and they are continuous. You have the mild agitation to the severe end of the spectrum, which is rage, so it's a spectrum. That's something we need to understand, is that emotions is not like a ladder with step by step and there's a gap between each step. Emotion is continuous. It's a continuous spectrum, just like color. There are other similarities between emotions and colors. Color has 3 primary colors, and these 3 primary colors, when they combine together in different proportions, you make different colors. You make the full spectrum of all the colors. So the 3 primary colors are red, green, and blue. So by combining them different ways, you get different colors. For example, when they are all mixed together, the red, green, and blue in the equal proportions, when they mix together, you create the overlap, which is white. White color is produced by combining red, green, and blue. Emotions work the same way. Just as there are 3 primary colors, there are 3 to 4 primary emotions. They are anger, fear, sadness. So these are, you can match them onto the color. For example, anger corresponds to the red color, and fear corresponds to the green color, and sadness corresponds to the blue color. So all these emotions, when they mix together, they create happiness, and happiness is the white color. Now let me explain these primary emotions. All emotions are energy. So if it's energy, there's movement. There are different type of movement. For example, anger. Anger is an energy that motivates, that energizes. Have you ever feel like sometimes you're so angry that you want to punch somebody, or you want to get physical? And that is the energy is outgoing, is expanding, expansion is increase. That's the type of energy of anger. When we talk about anger here, we are talking about it in neutrality. That means it's neither good or bad. We're talking about the raw energy there. And when we have the emotions of anger, when we feel the bad feeling, the quote unquote bad, it's because we have resistance towards that emotion. That's why we feel bad. But the raw emotion itself is just energy, and energy needs to move. So for the energy of anger, that movement is increase, is expansion. That's energy of anger. Now fear does the opposite. Unlike anger, which expands and increases, fear decreases and shrink. So you have the energy that expands, and you have the energy that contracts. That's fear. It contracts. That's the type of energy. It decreases, it contracts, and shrink. Now, so we cover two primary emotions, anger and fear. And then the third primary emotion is sadness. Sadness is different than anger and fear in that it's the energy of stillness. It still things. It's not increasing. It's not decreasing. It just slows it down. It comes to a standstill. So that's the energy of sadness. You see, emotion is energy, and energy is movement. And in terms of the primary emotions, the anger energizes, increases, rises, and the energy of fear decreases, shrink. That type of energy. And the energy of sadness is stills, slows things down. Now, like I said earlier, these emotions are energy. They're neither good or bad. They are neutral. And when we interpret them as good or bad, when we resist feeling that emotions, that's when the trouble comes. Now, these emotions, and when they combine in the middle, is happiness. You don't have increase, you don't have decrease, you don't have the stillness, and it's just be. So that's happiness. It's like white light. There's no color, it's absence of color. So happiness is absence of those emotions. Then you get happiness and joy. Just like a color, when you mix red and green in the same proportion, you get yellow. When we interpret our emotions as colors, the red is anger and the green is fear. When the anger and fear come together, you have the yellow, which is courage. So courage is an emotion that combines anger and fear. So that means the anger is outgoing, is increasing, expansion, and the fear is contracts, shrink. So it's the opposite. When they meet together in the middle is courage. So courage means you have the urge to do something, but at the same time there is fear holding you back. But courage means in that state you still can move forward. So now we understand the nature of emotions and their energies, their movements, and how they combine together to form different types of emotions, to form the full spectrum of the human emotions. Because the human emotion, there's no clear cut of where anger starts and where anger ends. It's a full spectrum. And even anger, as a broad term, it covers many emotions that we can further divide to mild agitation, to rage. So here's the problem. The problem is the human language. There is a definite amount of words to describe those emotions. So we are marking these emotions kind of like the letter step by step. But there is in between. Those are very subtle emotions that we may not even have words for them. The more we can understand our emotions, the more we can name the exact emotions we have, the better control we have over our own emotions. So our granularity towards emotions will determine our emotional intelligence and how well we can control and balance our emotions. and how when we name our emotions, we're becoming conscious of our emotions and what we are doing. And that's to put us in the driver's seat of controlling our emotions. So our ability to control and move our emotions up and down the emotional spectrum at will determine how we can achieve joy, because it's about being able to get out of that state of that being controlled by that emotion, by particular emotion, and being able to move up the emotional spectrum to joy. And joy is found when we can transcend our emotions, because when we have the absence of those negative emotions, we find joy in the situation. So in any given moment, no matter how low your emotions are, joy is there in the background, only if you can see it. So it's about getting out of the trap of negative emotions, name it so that you can better control it. And that is the secret to joy.